Wow, look at that. Underlying energy is the Wheel of Fortune. So this is the second time around for some of you guys. This is somebody you've been dealing with for a little bit. For those of you that this is not dealing with an ex, this could be that this is just someone, this is just a second time around in a situation in regards to love. But the thing here is, and the reason why I was looking at the underlying energy, because typically I don't do it for the spread because there's so many cards we're working with anyway. It's just a lot of karmic cards, a little not karmic cards, but a lot of, you know, struggle kind of cards here. This is battlefield kind of cards until it kind of gets a little nice around here. Everything kind of levels itself out and evens out and everything. But here it looks a little rough. Now, in the past, the Knight of Swords, there's some combative energy, fighting, fighting in regards to fighting what they believe in. This is someone that's very stern and very, serious about what it is that they want. Very, very serious about what it is of, what their truth is, rather. Okay, this person is very hard to negotiate with, especially. And they can come off very, very cold and direct. Now, this has a lot to do with the plans for the future, too, because internally you have the Three of Pentacles. This has a lot to do with plans. This has a lot to do with stability or making some sort of plans to, or whatever, seeing the future together, right? It's like, it's very future oriented, right? Seeing if there is a future together. And I feel like there's a lot of fight to make a future happen, potentially, or planning for the future of some sort. Very interesting cards are coming up for this. Now, with the Ten of Wands, though, this is coming up as a burden. Like, there's a lot on your plate. There was a lot on your plate. A lot to deal with, this relationship or conversations like that with the Knight of Swords coming up. I feel like this is between both parties. Like there's some combative energy between both parties. And if there isn't combative energy between both parties, one of you guys was just being very aggressive, especially when it comes to building a relationship or getting to a place where it's more, where you guys can see a future together. Okay, because I feel like, as far as plans go, I mean, there was some fight for it. Definitely, there's a fight for it. There is some belief that there is a future to build with each other. However, in the present, you have the Tower. The Tower does indicate something unexpected happening, something coming, so something's crashing down because of a faulty foundation. And I feel like there may be a realization that there is a very faulty foundation with this relationship. Perhaps there's somebody that's very selfish in the relationship, someone that's not, someone that doesn't compromise, someone that doesn't, that's not willing to adjust, or someone that's really trying to make something work that really has no foundation at all. This person could be that, especially could be someone here, but I feel like there's just a lot of selfishness coming in this relationship. There's nothing wrong with selfish behavior. But I feel like maybe the faulty foundation has a lot to do with what each other wants, or what each individual was looking for in the relationship. Perhaps there hasn't been a lot of focusing on what each other wants. Maybe there has been some realization of some things being, some desires being different than each other's. But you have the Lovers here, which indicate that there's love involved. This is definitely revolving around a relationship or commitment between you and another person. Not commitment usually isn't with the Lovers. It's just love in itself. But the Five of Swords, excuse me, is very brutal energy. It's really trying to make something work, and perhaps it just it ends up going back to love in a way. We're going to clarify this. But in the past, it's very interesting. It's like somebody's very, this is all about believe what this person believes or whatever's happening. Combative energy, fighting for what you believe in. Knight of Swords charges in really fast, and it has a lot. Maybe the relationship moved very fast in the past here, but there's some things that are being fought in the past. Though or maybe not fought, but there's just this belief of someone that's fighting for something that they believe in, and it was in regards to seeing a future with this individual, seeing a future within the partnership that's there, despite the burdens that they were carrying regarding this relationship. Okay, now let's go ahead and see what's going on. Why is the Five of Swords coming up? Actually, yeah, why is the Lovers coming up in the external energy? Why is the Lovers coming up in the external energy? Why is the Lovers coming up in the external energy? Why is the Lovers coming up in the external energy? The Seven of Cups. Romance. Okay, fantasy. Why is the Seven of Cups coming up for the Lovers? Why is the Seven of Cups coming up for the Lovers? The Hierophant. So there's something in regards to commitment, or figuring out what it is that each individual truly wants, truly loves. What do they want out of the connection that they have? And I feel like I was going in that direction. The Tower is like unexpected foundation crumbling. Well, unexpectedly something happening, or some sort of unexpected radical change that changes everyone's life, and it has a lot to do with what each other wants. And I was saying it before, maybe there is something in regards to each individual who now has to focus on what they want. They have to focus on what it is that they are getting out of the relationship. Because the Lovers are coming up in the external energy, so it's about being selfish in the relationship. Who is not getting what they want? Because the Seven of Cups is coming up as, like, you know, the indecisive, unclarity card, right? There's a lot of stuff coming up, and there's a lot of wonderful things appearing with the Seven of Cups, but you may not, you know, there's not a clear direction of which way anyone's going to be taking with the Seven of Cups, because there's no decision that's being made in the card, right? It's all about the decision itself. So there could be that this, like, as far as love goes, there's not a lot of certainty about what each individual person wants in the relationship. Therefore, but they're still committed to it. They're committed to the confusion that lies within the connection. But that's the thing, right? That's the thing with the Five of Swords. I feel like it's tearing apart the illusions, or the delusion that the relationship can still remain intact despite not having any sort of idea of what each person wants. And I feel like that's what comes in. I feel like one person knows what they want out of the relationship, and this, you know, and that's the battle part. What does the other person want? What does the other person expect from the relationship? And I feel like that's what potentially brings the Tower into the present moment, recognizing that the foundation is very faulty and it just crumbles. The crumbling of the relationship. No, crumbling of the foundation for this relationship. However, you know, the Star comes right after the Tower. This is always a reset button, healing, hope. So there could be that it's just needed to be just flat out just restarted, because again, the foundation was not stable. The Five of Swords is showing that it's like there's a lot of, you know, ruthless energy coming up, brutal energy too, in regards. But the Lovers is in the external energy. This is about love. This is about the connection that you have. And the Seven of Cups is just as much fantasy, romance, as it is delusions and uncertainty. And this is uncertainty about the commitment, the Hierophant, what you guys are actually committed to. And I feel like this is really you guys, right? You guys are like, I know what I want, and I don't really feel like this is something that is showing, because you guys, this is internally, you guys, you know, who's an air sign? Some of you guys could be dealing with an air sign, Gemini, Libra, another Libra or Aquarius. But I feel like this is you guys actually like standing your ground and not really buckling from what it is that you want. I feel like this realization that there is some sort of facade that's keeping this relationship intact, with this connection intact. There is love, but you're committed to Seven of Cups. The commitment is uncertain in the relationship. Therefore, the foundation the foundation is pretty much being broken down and re-looked at. Is being restarted. It's changing. Everything's changing in a very radical fashion, because there may be some things that each individual is just not really willing to compromise, or there is a compromise. I feel like ultimately someone is not willing to compromise here with this inner energy. There's no compromise. Even though this can be compromised, can be sacrificed, I feel like this person is very, they're looking at what they want. Because that's what the Seven of Cups is all about. What do you want? Now, as this goes on, you have judgment that comes up here in the future in regards to the internal energy. This is a second chance, a second time around. This is judgment, right? Call to action of putting, putting forth what you've learned into some sort of action now, because this is close to the ending of cycle. The world is very close to this, and this is the review, seeing everything that you've been through with this relationship. And the future holds itself is the Six of Swords, travel, distance. This is also a transition, right? Transitioning from one phase of your life to the next, leaving behind something that wasn't very prosperous, that's familiar, to a place that's more stable. It's not a very comfortable transition, but it's one that will bring more prosperity. And I feel like this, in that regard, can gain you the confidence that you've been looking for to manifest what you truly do want. Okay. Now, this is not, I don't think this is talking about a breakup. For some of you guys, this could be a breakup in itself. But for those of you out there, this could be that this is like you're committed to nothing. Almost, they're committed to the love between you and this person, but nobody knows what they want in the connection. This person here in the past has been like, let's figure out what we can build together, because I see value in the relationship enough to even see that there's a future to build. All right, this person was very, very adamant about building a future, but it was a burden even then. There was a serious burden then. But you have, with this Ten of Wands, you have to eventually drop the burden. And that's what potentially happened here. You dropped the burden, the whole world crashed. The whole world did a whole, let's just restart over. Let's just start it over. Let's wipe the slate clean. Because I feel like someone eventually figured out what they wanted out of the connection, because before they were connected to nothing. The commitment was on uncertainty. Let's see what the Romance Angels has to say. Wow, express your love. And this says, go ahead and make the romantic gesture. Now, remember I said the Seven of Cups is about romance and fantasy and things as much as it is delusions and uncertainty. And there could be that there is just this need to just be selfish in the relationship. Maybe that's the Tower, crumbling everything down, just doing what you want at all times, or doing what you want, or getting what you want out of the relationship at all times. And I feel like perhaps in the past you've been putting on there's a lot of work that was put in, breaking your back and all that, and now it's just like, you know what, I wanted to do what I wanted to. And this could be that there is just, there is a connection here that's strong, that's it's awesome, but perhaps now it's time to just do what you want at all times, right? Just do what you want. Who cares? If you're not getting anything out of the relationship, then that does kind of call for a review, right? In the future, if you can't be selfish in the relationship to get what you want, I mean, there's always the person has to be selfish in the relationship too, right? They have to get what they want out of the relationship, and you have to get what you want out of the relationship. But it makes sense for the review to come back up in the future to see how much you guys have progressed, and if there's even more action that's necessary to be taken in regards to this relationship, or moving forward in a different direction to manifest something else, or manifest something new with this individual based off of the review that you guys having to look at here. Because this is the Judgment card, is the review of all of this. All right, Libra, this is crazy, y'all.